Merry Meet and welcome to our stream, everybody. This is Ariel and we are streaming this live on YouTube and Twitch, but what we're streaming live is a pre-recorded class because rather than canceling class today, I decided to pre-record this because I have to go help my mom out. So she needs some help today. So I didn't want to cancel class, so I recorded it and we're streaming it live. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch, but since I pre-recorded this, I don't know who the moderators today are, so they will let you know who they are on those respective chat threads. Now, just as a reminder, we are here every Tuesday with a tarot class, and on the first Tuesday of each month, that tarot class consists of one-on-one readings. But the rest of the time, other than the first Tuesday of the month, we have a little lecture and demonstration so that you can learn tarot the way I read them, the way I read tarot. If you like this channel and you want to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga. If you happen to be watching live on YouTube, you could use a super sticker or super chat if you feel like giving a donation on the platform. Now, if you're watching this stream on a restream, you could, and you happen to be on YouTube, you could use a super thanks to give a donation. We also have a shop, and that's over at arielscornershop.com. arielscornershop.com. We have all kinds of beautiful merchandise, including tarot decks for sale. We make a small commission off of each and every sale. So today we are going to use this Stone Marseille tarot as our deck. The big tarot deck that I use for the class up until this point is too big to show a spread because it doesn't stay in the shot because those cards are too big. So I'm going to use this deck today. All right, so we're going to go through a spread, and I'm going to show you the spread that I tend to use. Now, it's important. Now, this is just a dummy spread. This isn't for anybody today. So this is just a pretend spread. So I don't want anybody to necessarily try to get meaning from it. But if it speaks to you, that's fine too. One of the first things that it's important to understand when you are reading tarot for another person is things need to be shuffled a lot. The more you can shuffle, the better, because divination relies on randomization. Divination relies on randomization. So the more random the cards are, the better. So I like to shuffle a lot. Now, I've probably shuffled more than I need to for a pretend reading, but for an actual reading, I'd probably even try to shuffle a little bit more if I possibly could. Now, the traditional cutting is in 3 piles like this, and you can do that. But the way I cut, I just tend to cut once anymore. And the reason is because I only use the top 3 cards for my base reading, and then I'm going to shuffle it again. So I don't see the point in cutting it more than once. So then for my base reading, I tend to, from left to right, I put these cards out in a line like this. Now, if I'm doing a spread that needs linear time, which I don't always like to do because I'm not a predictive kind of person, I will say past, present, future. Left hand is past, the center card is present, and the right hand card is the future, just like we would read in English from left to right. But like I said, I don't normally read with for linear time for prediction and things like that. So instead, I often look at, this is where I'm coming from, this is where I am, and this is where I seem to be headed. This is where my direction seems to be pointed, or your direction, the person who I'm reading for seems to be pointed. So this is, I try to keep a lot of meaning freed from the positions. I know that's a very popular way to read. It's fairly newfangled. It's that idea of each position means something is probably not more than 100 years old, maybe a little bit older than that. But this is more along the lines of what we might call a tableau spread, where it's not so much that each position means something, but it just puts some cards out there so I can see what the relationships are with the cards. And I let the cards themselves tell me what the positions mean. For instance, I see that this King of Coins is looking away from everything here. So, and since this is where I'm headed, it looks as though that this King of Coins is disregarding where I've come from and is looking ahead into the future. Is disregarding even what I'm going through right now, is disregarding what I've gone through or the person that I'm reading for. So that's just one thing I can look at, is if there's a face card or if there's a person in the pictures, which way are they facing? Are they facing toward the cards? Are they facing away from the cards? And does that possibly mean something for me? Now, so for instance, this Four of Cups, this Seven of Cups, this is Jupiter and Venus. And then this is the kings are owners. So this is the person's ability to own their wealth, to be masterful of their wealth. And it's almost as though they're not giving credence to all of the work that they've done. It's almost as if they think that their ability to be masterful of wealth and to have mastery over wealth doesn't come from their past experience. And that might be something that comes up in the reading. I mean, I don't know if it will or not, because you do have to kind of rely somewhat on your intuition and kind of see what the story is being told. But for me, the story is that this person has had probably a spiritual discipline, maybe an emotional discipline. This could be somebody that's really involved in meditation or psychotherapy or some sort of practice, some sort of spiritual practice or emotional practice, something that is very self-care oriented and something that's fairly disciplined on some level or another. And this is talking about an upgrade as a result of all of the work that they've done. And part of that upgrade is going to have its presence in their own physical prosperity, but to not discount the fact that the emotional work and the spiritual work that they've done is one of the reasons why they're going to be doing so well. They're headed into that. So they don't want to, I would encourage them not to disconnect their success from all the work that they've done on themselves. Now, the Seven of Cups here is talking about, for me, Venus is usually a victory, an upgrade, a turnaround. And I just get that from the Kabbalah. So, and this is a turnaround and an upgrade based on the discipline that they've had. So Jupiter and Venus are really working in consort in this person as a result of all of the order that they're establishing within their own mind, And so to make sure that they acknowledge that that's where their power is coming from, that the prosperity didn't just come out of nowhere. It's not for nothing. It's because of what they've done, right? So then what I would do is especially if I have if I have a whole hour with this person and I really want to get into this, I'm going to open up each of these cards with 3 more cards each. Now, if I didn't need to do that, if I said, well, this all makes sense, I just want to find out about this, or I just want to find out about that, I could open up a single card. Now, sometimes I will shuffle my deck and open up one card and talk about it, and shuffle again, and then open up another card and talk about it, and then shuffle again and open up another card and talk about it. Or I will decide that I'm just going to shuffle and open them all up at once. But I need to make sure that I make that choice in advance, which way I'm going to do it. And so I'm just going to open up all the cards. Now, sometimes, especially if I only have, 13, 14 minutes, like on the tarot streams, I open it up with a single card. It's just all I have time for. But if I have a full on, hour or half hour even, I'll just cut. And like I said, I'll either do it one at a time, shuffle cut for each card, or I'll just put them all out at once. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put them all out at once. So I start out with the top, then the left, and then the right. So this is one card. So it's this card, and these 3 cards are talking about this card. This is another card. And then these 3 cards are talking about this card. Sometimes I put it right on top if I don't have enough space, but I think I have a space here. And then this is one card. And then I've got these 3 cards going around it. And I don't use reversals. I just don't. You can if you want to. I just don't. I think part of why I don't use reversals is I just kind of got bored with them. But I think it's because I started using a lot of just regular playing cards. When I was reading, I didn't always reach for my tarot deck, and those are not reversible cards. They're just so I just kind of got used to not reversing my cards. But you can if you want to. There's nothing wrong with reversals. You can use them if you like. So what do we have? We have an 8 of Cups, a 7 of Swords, and a Queen of Coins, which is interesting because she and he have a lot to do with each other. But do you see how they're facing away from one another? So within the past of this person and within the kind of the makeup of this person, they've been nurturing this wealth, yet by the time they get the mastery, they forget all of what they've done. They forget to acknowledge all of the work that they've done. And so it just seems like their wealth comes out of nowhere, and they're not taking any kind of accountability for the fact that they've done all this work. They've done all this work. They've done work intuitively. Now, if you do have all the cards out like this, I call this the keynote to the reading here. The one on the bottom left. I say this is the keynote to the reading. And a lot of times I call this one the outcome of the reading. Now, again, it's only in context of what the whole reading is about. So I'll take a look at this and I'll say, well, you know, your intuition has been and is continuing to be your source of success. And the reason why good things are happening for you is because you're following your gut. You're on top of that intuition. You are listening to the guidance and you are committed to it it seems like in a very systematic way. And it's causing some old conflicts to be resolved because the 7 of Swords is always a resolution, turnaround, and upgrade. Where there was conflict, there is resolution, which is wonderful. And this is what's been going on for them. This is kind of where they're coming from. Now, this moved into this other Venus card here. Remember, this was that upgrade in all ways. And this upgrade is calling forth this Star card. Now, I always look at the major arcana or the trump cards as being spiritual assistance that comes in. And the pip cards is just the basic soup of our lives. It's just what we come up with. This is how we are dealing with things. And the court cards are personality facets within us. These don't represent other people. They represent parts of the person's personality. All right. So here's this 8 of Wands, which is usually a quick ending of things that needs to end. And this Pope card, which oftentimes represents the need for approval from a authority figure, and also a feeling or sense of powerlessness that can come from an authority figure. So to me, this turnaround in spirituality is bringing up some authority issues that are wanting to end. And this Star card says that there's help available. There's help available. So that star represents grace and usually represents a purification of one's past. That can be in the form of forgiveness. That can be in the form of all kinds of miraculous, wonderful things that where the past is undone and we no longer have those consequences. That's what that Star card is all about. So the Star card is definitely the star of this configuration here, but we have to take a look at that Pope card and just say, you know, that wouldn't have come up if there wasn't still some sort of lingering authority problem. So working with that star energy to allow a lot of this to come to an end in order for that upgrade to happen and not give our power over to something external, right? And then I've got this grouping here, which is where they're headed. Now, crowning this grouping here is this wonderful 5 of Swords, which is a cruelty card. That's the 5 of 5. That's the conflict of conflict. There's nothing good in this card. Nothing good in this card. Now, I won't say it to them like that, probably, unless I know them or unless I feel like they can take that. But what's good about this is that here, this 9 is saying that if you allow yourself to get fatigued, if you don't allow these things to end, if you don't allow this upgrade to happen, if you don't allow this star card to do its work, and you continue on with this authority problem, you're going to come into problems. There's going to be problems that you can't avoid, and it's going to probably affect you in ways that include financial, include your physical health, because this is somebody that's really run down, this 9 of Wands. So it's really saying don't just rush over this authority problem, this feeling of powerlessness. You really want to look at that and to release that, to find this energy of the star card, to release this idea that you're powerless before this authority. Because if you don't, you're cruising for a bruising. The other thing about this 5 of Swords is that it's usually considered a long-standing pattern that is based on very ancient abuse of some sort, or some kind of ancient cruelty in that person. And so that this is an opportunity for them to finally get that taken care of, so it doesn't keep coming up and keep resurfacing and keep resurfacing. But the only way to do that is through the energy of this star card, so that you can finally come to terms with whatever this Pope is representing, right? So the outcome of this is amazing. The outcome of all of this, even if you go through this cruelty, because it looks to me like that is coming to get released. But what we want to do is we want to bring the past and the future together and realize the reason why good things are happening for you is because of all the work you've done. So let's not discount that, and let's not give our power over to any external authority. And that's going to take care of a lot of these problems that seem to keep recurring in your life. But that the ultimate goal of this is this Ace of Cups, which is pure prosperity, real prosperity, beyond only financial prosperity. It includes everything. Oops. It includes, I can keep, you say it includes peace of mind. It includes self-expression. It includes financial prosperity. It includes health of body, all forms of prosperity, right? And see, he's looking at this. He's looking at that. He's eyeing this, and that's a good sign. That is a good sign. But we don't want to just relegate your role in this to something that happened in the past. We want you to take responsibility for the fact that you've nurtured this. It's because of you that all of these good things are happening. So acknowledge yourself. So that's kind of how I would read that. Do you see how it... So when I see 2 court cards here that are in the same suit especially, okay, that has something to do with each other. These swords have something to do with each other, right? This upgrade that happened in your past is going to need to be active in your future, because that pattern is going to present itself for you again so that you can release it. And this seems to have something to do with this authority. Now, what are these trump cards? We've got 2 trump cards. We've got this here, the star card, plus the Pope card. And the star is trying to and wanting to be a spiritual assistance, and so is the Pope. And the Pope is the spiritual assistance of you letting go of your misunderstanding of what authority means, because infinite intelligence is the only authority in your life. Remember, authority and author come from the same root word. So what authored you is your authority, not anything else, right? And that's what the star card is wanting to do. So we look at the 2 trump cards too. Now, look, what do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cups. Now, it's up to you what you decide these things mean, but the cups, for me, represent, yes, oftentimes emotions. They can definitely represent emotions, but they also represent spirituality. And I always say that water or any liquid in the cups, if you poured it out, it goes everywhere. So cups are all encompassing. Cups are all encompassing. They are the feminine counterpart to the wands. So these cups are very positive cards in this reading. Intuition, spiritual discipline, upgrade and turnaround, and pure prosperity, right? And then what do we have? We have wands. We have 2 wands, and they relate to one another. This is things wanting to end and you not letting them. You keeping things alive. You fatiguing yourself. Because you're not letting things end that want to end organically. And then we've got these 2 sword cards that speak to each other. This is the upgrade. And remember, sometimes an upgrade and a turnaround needs to bring up something that's unresolved in order to complete it. And that's what's happening here. And it seems to be centered around this authority problem. So your main card here is the Star card, because not just because it's in this position, but because it appears to be overseeing everything to me. It's not that this particular position has super powerful meaning, but if I see this as the center and the top, and it's an obvious pouring out of something, I see it pouring out over the whole reading and healing everything. And so that's the kind of the star is the star of the reading, and that your ability to receive the grace of that higher power is what is called upon for this reading. Do you see? Now, let's do, I don't have a lot of time, but we're going to do another one here. Another fake reading. Well, I don't like fake. Another example reading. That's better. This is an example reading. It's not a dummy reading. It's not a guinea pig reading. It's an example reading. So I'm going to shuffle up a few times, not as much as I would if it was a real reading, because it doesn't matter if it's accurate, because there's nothing to be accurate about. We're just showing you what we do. Now, if you didn't have time, you could do what I do on the first Tuesday of the month. You could take a single card as the heart of the reading. The base reading is this 2 of wands. Now, for me, 2s tend to be impatience, wanting to rush things, not wanting to let things take their natural time. And wands represent work and career. So somehow this person's trying to push things in regards to their work or career. Maybe they want to, who knows what it is, but maybe they want a promotion and they're trying to push it, or whatever it is, or they're trying to get an advertising campaign to pay off real fast by throwing a bunch of money at it without really realizing that maybe that it's not the ad spend that's the problem, but maybe you got to retool the advertising. So it's saying just to chill out and not rush anything. And then I could open up this one card. So this is a 10 of Swords. Aren't you glad this isn't your reading? It's an 8 of Cups again, right in that similar spot. And then this Valet de Bâton, this Page of Wands. So the good news about the 10 of Swords is by the time it's there, it's already happened. So this is talking about the reason why they're impatient is because they've dealt with some sort of calamity or failure. And I always say that whatever this is, it's already happened. So you don't have to worry about the future, because this isn't something you're headed towards. This is something that's happened or is happening. So you don't have to worry about the future. What you have to worry about is how you're responding to this. And it seems like you're responding to this calamity or whatever it is by trying to push things and make things happen faster. So this is a type of fear. And it's saying it's better to this is the 9. It's better to recognize what your magnetism is. And your magnetism is based on your emotions, especially in this this 9 of Cups. So if you're not able to have peaceful, relaxed emotions, then what you're calling to you is going to be more of that calamity. So it's saying to just calm down, to allow yourself to retool your own vibrations by relaxing and breathing and allowing your emotions to be harmonious. And that's going to change. That's going to change what you're attracting, because this is a very magnetic card, and that your future actually looks bright. There looks like there's some really good news about whatever this is. So whatever this was, this calamity was just a blip. You know, I know it was painful for you, but it's not. It doesn't show a trend in this reading. It's just don't respond to it right now. Just take a breath, relax, let the dust settle. You're going to know what to do. The valet or the page is always new information. Is always good news too. So there's good news and new information, and you're going to be shown what to do. But right now you don't. That information isn't here yet. So now is not the time to act. Just chill out. Work on your vibrations, and more will be revealed. You see? Now, let me show you another way that you can use the same basic spread, which you've seen me do if you ever watch any of my tarot readings. And that's where we open it up with a single card. I prefer, if I have time, to open up each card with 3 cards. That's my favorite way of reading. But if I don't have time, sometimes I don't open it up at all. I don't need to. I just use those 3 cards and the reading's done. But oftentimes I need to know a little bit more of the backstory, a little bit more of what's underneath the surface. So in that spread, what I will do is I will take the 3 card base reading again, just like we did in that first example. And I'll just say, oh, okay. Now you see, some people would leave this upside down and they would have a separate meaning for what the devil meant. And I just don't do that. My cards don't speak to me that way. If I decided to do that, if I decided, well, I'm going to be working with reversals today, then I would leave that alone. But I don't do that. I rarely do that. I like my images right side up. I like to be able to actually see what's going on in the card. And there's plenty of data available in 78 cards, whether I don't need to double it. It's just me. All right, so here we have the 6. Now, the sixes are interesting because, like I said, the minor or the pips, the pips or the minor arcana always tend to be what we're involved with, not spiritually, but what we're involved with, not spiritual help from above. Except for with the 6, it's how we are capable of calling on that higher power, how we're capable of recognizing that our way isn't the right way, and that we have an opportunity to call upon that higher power. And so I oftentimes use 6 as a jumping off point for the solar light exercise, just because it represents the 6th sphere, and that is miracles, that is higher power, that is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. That's what it means. And so, but it's still, even still, unless this is the Sun card in the major arcana, this isn't spiritual power coming in to try to help us. This is us needing to ask for the help. This is us needing to ask for the help. So I would recommend that they call on that higher power in whatever way is meaningful to them. And if they're open to it, I would teach them how to do the solar light meditation, or give them, how to listen to it on my YouTube channel. And because it's saying that that's where you're coming from, is from this need to look outside of whatever the system is, look outside of whatever the situation is, and realize that you can't figure it out on your own. That there's power in knowing that you can't figure this out, that you don't have the power to figure whatever this was out. And sometimes it's not even a problem. Sometimes it's like you can't even figure out the success that you're having. Now, this Temperance card is spiritual help that's coming in and waiting. for them. And this spiritual help here for me, this temperance card, is always an angelic presence that's always coming to heal. And this represents for me the most often is their own unique needs, from spirit. Nobody else needs what you need. This is very spiritual reading. Nobody else needs what you need. Now, it's interesting to see how she has her back turned on the devil. And the devil doesn't look up, doesn't look left, doesn't look right, doesn't even look straight forward. He looks straight down. Straight down. And he's got the tongue out, which is like that lion pose in yoga. And so when I see that, and he's got his right arm raised, almost like he's taken an oath. He's swearing allegiance and carrying some sense of power symbol. And these two people are tied, right? And so that is our allegiance to our own fear. That is our allegiance to our own sense of what needs to happen. And this temperance card is saying, don't worry about what you think you need, because you're wrong. I know what you need better than you know what you need. You need something that's very specific that you can't get for yourself because you're so mired in this illusion. You are so tied to things needing to look a certain way, be a certain way, that kind of thing, right? And so for me, this isn't so much of a linear reading at all. I'm not saying, okay, no, be careful in the future of the devil. That's not it at all. To me, it's more like where the lines are crossed. She's looking away. He's looking down. He's not even aware of her or him or them, whatever they are, right? He's only aware of these two captive demons that he, she, they have created. And so this is our own need to untie or unhook ourselves from our own temptations, from our own fears, and from our own ideas of what must happen and the way things must be. And this angel saying, no, you don't even understand. I've got this elixir I'm mixing up for you that's going to open your eyes so that you can see things in such a new way that you're never going to understand how things are supposed to be until you get there, because you're so enamored and so hypnotized by what you think things are and what you think things should be. Very spiritual reading. But anyway, I'm acting like this is a real reading. But this is not really, for me, at all linear. To me, this is talking about something much loftier than linear time. But since we don't have time in this reading to do a full opening, but we want a little bit more information, we're just going to give one card as an opener for each one. But this is still the base reading. These are helper cards. So we've got two major arcana cards here. So this is major help. That's kind of three major arcana cards. Major help that's on its way. The devil is major help. The Pope is major help, and temperance is major help that is coming from a realm that is not part of your mind, that is not part of this world. And what this is trying to say to me is that part of what you're attached to is what you've been taught and what the authority figures in your life have shown you to be the truth. And now, who are these authority figures? And then I'd ask that person to take a look at it. Who do you think knows more than you do? I mean, authority figures in your mind can be people that aren't necessarily authoritative. I mean, I could be an authority figure because, Ariel says never blah, 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 so I better never blah, 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 blah. But Ariel is not, doesn't have power in your life. So if you're tying yourself to even something that is positive to you, that it must be thus, then you're not listening instead to temperance here. You're not listening to that angel who's coming in to free you. Right? So that's what I would ask is where are you getting your idea of the way things must be? Who has taught you that? And it's time to free yourself from that. Now he's looking straight at the devil. He's looking straight at the devil. So the authority figures are responsible for the devil. Now, this Knight of Wands is talking about the help that's coming your way and your ability to receive help. And that help is looking away both from temperance and from the Pope and from the devil. So it's saying once the dust settles with all of this, whatever this is, you're going to be busy. You're going to be very busy, and you're going to be shown what to do one step at a time, but you're not there yet. It's not time to take action. Right now it's time to receive. It's time to receive the blessings that you need to receive to untie you from whatever this is. Okay, now she's in the past, if you're looking at this from linear time, and she's looking away from where you're going. So to me, that's saying, especially on top of the 6, that the solar light is going to bring you more blessings than you thinking, well, this worked for me before. This is how I got things working before. How come it's not working anymore? Because your old ways are no longer appropriate. That's why. So yes, you've done some really wonderful things in the past, and yes, you've really nurtured some really wonderful outcomes, but that is not the way things are working right now. You need a new way. You need a new way. And this new way is coming from calling on that solar light or that higher power, allowing that healing to happen from that higher power, and allowing those forces to gently bring you into understanding where your attachments come from. Where your attachments come from and what those authority figures in your life are that have taught you that, so that you can gently untie yourself from them. And that's what this angelic elixir is all about in this particular case, is untying you from a lot of what you thought was the truth before. And then it's going to be time to get busy. Then you're going to really get busy. But don't get busy now, because you're not coming from the right frame of mind. Right? So these aren't necessarily in a position, these 3 cards really need to be modifying what these cards mean, right? And then I also look at what their interactions are. And we'll talk more about how to make syntheses of the different cards in another class. But I just wanted to show you my basic layout, my basic spread. I don't do anything complicated. I don't even use the Celtic cross that much anymore. I used to all the time. I don't do complicated spreads. I just do a few cards and then open each card up as I need to, and then just try to find the storyline. Try to find what the basic understanding of what the interactions are between those cards. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. And thank you to the moderators today. I don't know who you are, but I so appreciate you. And I'll be back for another tarot class next week, and I will be live. Until then, blessed be.